Okay, so this is the key to rational expressions number 2. And in these problems, you wanted to multiply these rational expressions and then simplify. Okay, so it's very similar to rational expression number 1, except this time you are multiplying. Okay, so in either case, though, the first thing you have to do is factor all the numerators and then factor all of the denominators, and then reduce any common factors. Okay, so number 1, we have this. So here's number 1. So number 1, we have 6x minus 10 divided by 7x plus 14. Now this rational expression is being multiplied by this rational expression, 7 divided by 3x minus 5. Okay, so the first thing I've got to do is factor all these numerators. So if you look at the first numerator, it looks like the GCF here is 2. So I can factor out a 2. Now again, make sure as you're doing your work, I can see your thought process. Make sure your work is neat. So say equal, 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 and go down the line like this. Don't go horizontally so much, because some of you that are doing that, your work is so close together, and it's even worse when you don't have any equal signs. So be careful. I would just go straight down like I've been doing. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is factor out a 2. So I get 2 times 3x minus 5, right? Okay, and that's a good thing because you see you have one right here. Then in the denominator, I can factor out a 7. So I get 7 times x plus 2. And then this numerator is a monomial factor, so I'm just going to leave that alone. This denominator, the GCF is 1, so I'm going to leave that alone as well. And so now let's reduce. I have a factor of 2 here. Do you have a factor of 2 occurring in any of the denominators? Now you got to know your factors. See, your factors are 7, x plus 2, and 3x plus 5. So 2 will not go, and 7 do not have any common factor except 1. So I cannot simplify the 2 with anything in the denominator, with any factor in the denominator. But let's look at 3x minus 5. I have a 3x minus 5 here, so those divide out. You must show that. So you have to say that's going to leave me a factor 1, and that's going to leave me a factor 1. The next factor I see is a 7. I see one down here. So those will divide out, and you must say that. You must show that. So that leaves you a factor 1. That leaves you a factor 1. And that's all you can deal with. And so the answer will be 2 times 1, which is 2. 1 times x plus 2 times 1 is x plus 2. So there's your answer. So the answer number 1 is 2 divided by x plus 2. So 2 divided by x plus 2. All right, number 2. Number 2, we have this in number 2. We have x squared divided by 4x plus 12. So we have this rational expression that's being multiplied by this rational expression. And again, if I'm going to multiply rational expressions, I have to make sure that I factor first so that way I can divide out any common factors. All right, so when you multiply rational expressions, in the end, you got to write as one rational expression, and then it must be simplified. Same thing here. Okay, so this is a monomial factor, so I'm going to leave that alone for right now. Here, it looks like I can factor out a 4, so I'm going to get x squared. See, step by step. Step by step. Make it to where I can see what you're doing. Then you can factor out an x. I get 4. Factor out a 4, so I get 4 times x plus 3 times. All right, now this polynomial, I can't factor that. The GCF is 1, so it's going to stay as it is, which is okay anyway because these will divide out. And then x is a monomial factor, and it will reduce with one of these. Okay, so let's go ahead and reduce. So I have two factors of x in the numerator, and remember your factors in the denominator are 4, x plus 3, and x. So I have two factors of x here, I have one here. So all of this will divide into itself, and two factors of this will be reduced by one of these. So you're left with 1. Okay, so it's kind of like saying, if you look at this, it's like saying I have x times x divided by x, and then these divide out, and you see you have one factor of x here, and then you have 1 right here. See, this one is this one. Okay? And then the x plus 3's will divide out, and so all you have left now is x times 1 is x. 4 times 1 times 1 is 4. So x divided by 4 is the answer to number 2. So x divided by 4. Okay, number 3, we have y squared minus 4 divided by y squared minus 25 times y minus 5 divided by y plus 2. Okay, so again, I'm multiplying these two rational expressions. I need to factor first so I can reduce any common factors. So these both here are the difference of two squares. And so when I factor y squared minus 4, see right underneath, when I factor it, I get y minus 2 times y plus 2. The denominator, y squared minus 25, I can factor as y minus 5 times y plus 5 times. And then the numerator and the denominator here, the GCF in both of those is 1, so I'm going to leave it as they are. Okay, so once you factor, remember the next step is to divide out any common factors. The first factor I see is y minus 2. I don't have any y minus 2's as one of these three factors down here. The next factor I see is y plus 2. I have one here, so those divide out. You must show this. You must show that. The next factor is y minus 5. I have one here. Those divide out. And that's all you can do. So the answer is going to be y minus 2 times 1 is y minus 2. 1 times y plus 5 times 1 is y plus 5. And so that's your answer. Okay, so you get y minus 2 divided by y plus 5. Okay? All right, number 4, we have this number 4. We have y squared minus 8y divided by y squared minus 49 times y plus 7 divided by y minus 8. Okay, so again, we got to factor the numerators first. So in this numerator, I can factor out a y. That's the GCF. So I can factor out a y. So I get y times y minus 8 divided by, and that's the difference of two squares. So I get y minus 7 times y plus 7 times. These two factors here, the numerator and the denominator, I can't do anything with. The GCF in both cases is 1. So I'm just going to rewrite it. And now let's reduce. Let's reduce common factors. Have a factor y. There is no factor y in the denominator. See, your factors in the denominator, y minus 7, y plus 7, and y minus 8. The next factor C is y minus 8. I see one here, so those divide out. Okay? Remember, it's kind of like saying y minus 8 divided by y minus 8. Anything divided by itself is 1. And that's what you have here. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Then the y plus 7's divide out. And so all you have left now is y times 1 is y. Y minus 7 times 1 is y minus 7. And so that's your answer. So y divided by y minus 7. Y divided by y minus 7. Number 5. So number 5, we have 3x squared minus x minus 4 divided by 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 times this rational expression, 2x plus 1 divided by 3x minus 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and factor the numerators and then factor the denominators. In the first numerator, when I factor this as two binomials, it looks like I'm going to get 3x and x, and it looks like it'll be 4 and 1. 4 and 1. And the last sign's negative. These signs in here are different. And the larger of the outer and the inner will be negative. So it looks like that's going to be it right here. Let's check it. Negative 4 times 1 is a negative 4. The outer is a positive 3x. The inner is a negative 4x. And I get a negative 1x when I add them up. Okay, the denominator, let's see what we get. We get 2x, x, 2 and 1. And let's see, the last sign's negative. These signs are different. And it looks like this 2 will be negative and this will be positive. Now let's check. The outer is a negative 4x. The inner is a positive 1x. When I add them up, I get negative 3x. 1 times a negative 2 is a negative 2. Okay, now over here, the 2x plus 1 and the 3x minus 4, I can't factor any further, so I'm just going to rewrite it. And now the next step is to reduce any common factors. The first factor I see is 3x minus 4. Do I see a 3x minus 4 occurring in the denominator? Yep, right here. So those will divide out. And make sure you put factors of 1s in their place. The next factor is x plus 1. There is no factor of x plus 1 in the denominator. The next factor is 2x plus 1. I see one here. Those divide out. And so therefore the answer is 1 times x plus 1 times 1 is x plus 1. 1 times x minus 2 times 1 is x minus 2. So we get x plus 1 divided by x minus 2. All right. And then finally, number 6. Let me go ahead and do number 6. I may have enough room here, so let's do that here. So this will be number 6. So number 6, we have k squared plus 5k plus 6 divided by k squared plus 10k plus 16 times k squared plus 8k divided by k squared minus 6k minus 27. All right? So the first thing you have to do is factor all these numerators and all these denominators. First thing you have to do. So when I do that in the first numerator, it looks like when I factor this, I'm going to get k plus 3 times k plus 2. So that factors into this. And then in the denominator, when I factor that, it looks like that's going to be, that's a 16 here. So it looks like that's going to be 6 and 4. So k plus 6, k plus 4. The numerator here, the GCF is k, so you got to factor out a k. So times k plus 8. The denominator, let's see what we get there. So let's see, the last sign is negative, so the signs in here are different. And I need the out and the inner to add up to be negative 6k. And that looks like 9 and 3. And then this will be 9, and this will be 3. Let's just double check. So the outer is a negative 9k. The inner is a positive 3k. When I add them up, I get a negative 6k. And positive 3 times a negative 9 is a negative 27. Okay? All right, now once you factor, remember the next step is to reduce any common factors. The first factor I see is k plus 3. You have any factors of k plus 3 in the denominator right here. So those divide out, you're left with 1s as factors. The next factor is k plus 2. I don't have a k plus 2 in the denominator. The next factor is a k. I don't have a k as a factor in the denominator. The next factor is k plus 8, and I don't have a factor of k plus 8 in the denominator. All right, so then, let's see. Now I want to go back. You do realize that this is, I'm not sure what I said here, but 6 times 4 is 24. I need 16, right? So what should be this right here? So that's not correct. What should that be? So you got to be careful. So 6 times 4 is 24, not 16. So let's see. That will be k, 8 and 2, right? So 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, plus. All right, so yeah, you got to be careful. Sometimes when you go through this quickly, you can easily not think rationally. Okay, so then the k plus 8s divide out, and the k plus 2s divide out. All right, so make sure you fix this. And so therefore the answer is going to be 1 times k times 1 is k. And then 1 times 1 times 1 times k minus 9 is k minus 9. And there's the answer. So k divided by k minus 9. And so that's going to go here. So k divided by k minus 9. All right, so that is the key to the worksheet dealing with multiplying rational expressions.